We trying to get paid.
Making money, make it, dollar
We trying
bills,
to get
y'all.
paid.
Making money,
Yeah,
make
you
it.
save and invest, stacking up checks. Let's go.
First and foremost, ladies and gentlemen, let me apologize to the quality of the audio you are listening to right now. My cord for my professional microphone has given out and I have to replace it. And I've already put in the order. It is set to come tomorrow, but I didn't want to go another day without posting something on YouTube about what I feel about what's going on in the market. So just bear with me here. This is the only and last time you'll hear this podcast sound like this. So let me just go ahead and put my thoughts out there. Today was a global sell off day for the markets, but a lot of news came out, and let's talk about the market for 10/13/2020. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is LaSalle Inungu. I'm your host, and thank you for coming back to the podcast. You know, I'm going to come to you only when I have something really important to say about the markets, and I want to say this. I was very, very impressed with what Apple delivered today on their big news highlight day about their new Apple iPhone. It's something to be very excited about. The ultimate model, which is the Pro version, isn't out of reach for most people at a price less than $1,100. But there's also a downside, right? With every new iPhone, you continue to see the advancement of what I call the Jezebel society, right? As America moves from a predominantly white nation to a nation of people of color, you will continue to see a massive amount of sexualization, right? Of just about everything. I mean, look at social media. Everything is sex, 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 sex. Women of color making videos walking downstairs, right? Literally recording themselves walking down a flight of stairs, showing their ass or the way their hips move, walking down hallways, picking up things on the floor, washing clothes or some crap like that. I mean, this is the reality of social media today, brought to you by advancements in technology like the iPhone. Why? Because the vast majority of people of color, particularly women of color, are low skilled. They have very little education and family wealth. And due to the fact automation is becoming more mainstream, technological advancements in the workplace, millions of these women will have no choice but to enter sex work, the sex industry, to make a living, right? For every one of these women that becomes a lawyer or a doctor or something, there are about, 20 to 30 of them that are working at Walmart or Dollar Tree or some crap like that. And most of them don't want to work there and are looking for a way out. And those jobs will be, pushed out, and they're going to have to find another way to make money. And the future for those women is sex work. That's just the bottom line. There's literally, there won't be anything else for women to do besides doing real delicate things that automation can't do, which is hair, nails, makeup, something extremely delicate or complicated like that. Look at the prefibrillation, or excuse me, proliferation, and I'm not saying that word right, of services like OnlyFans, right? Which is basically Uber for sex workers, right? Uber doesn't have any drivers as employees. It's a gig job. Well, guess what? OnlyFans doesn't have any sex workers as employees. It's a gig job. And because our government is broke, because in the next 5 to 10 years we're looking at massive, almost two times the kind of deficits we're having now, you know, government will kowtow to the demands of these women because the government will have nothing to offer them, right? They're basically going to go ahead and legalize sex work and to an extent promote it by taxing it. And COVID certainly didn't help things. You have millions of, black and brown women sitting at home now unemployed, right? Most of them were in the service industry, uh, tourist industry, and now with no work, they've got to, become gig workers, right? And with this new iPhone out, You've got the power of a Hollywood blockbuster camera. I mean, $30,000 cameras now in the power of this new iPhone 12 Pro, right? These ladies are going to go out there and get that and build a business around themselves, build around a business around their bodies because there's no other way to make money. So, ladies and gentlemen, get ready for a lot of women to pull their titties out, and you're going to pay $4.99 for that because you're probably going to like what you see, and they've got no choice but to do that for a living. So, more on that in the future. Irregardless, ladies and gentlemen, Apple continues to be a long-term buy here. Um, I like the technology, although I don't like the side effects of what it's going to bring. It's fighting to hold 121 here. I think if it holds 121 this week, you got to be really excited about possibly it looking for the 130s. But more to come on that. Horrible day for the airlines. If you read what Delta, Southwest Airlines, those earnings reports, they said that business declined. Listen to this, 70% in the quarter, and that they expect a 20% increase in demand next quarter. So not even half of what they lost last quarter. So even the airlines are projecting an incredibly slow recovery into 2021. Gold, what a turd. I mean, it's really pissing me off. I don't care what you guys keep bringing me back from, Mr. Schiff and his racist ass. Gold is back under 1900 for the week. Gold better do something right now, or you guys are going to, end up shitting on yourselves. And Peter Schiff is going to have to come up with a new story about why gold isn't running. I'm really running on my last win when it comes to the shiny metals. It needs to do something. It needs to do something fast. We can't just keep talking about stimulus and gold running on stimulus when everybody's talking about it, everybody knows it's coming, and yet gold isn't running. Why is it not running? It should be running right now. All right. I'm running out of patience. Materials, industrials, real estate all fell on the horrible news concerning the economy from the airlines. Basically, 60% of yesterday's gains were given back today. There's no use talking about individual stocks right now because we need a stimulus package now. All right, there's no point. I mean, listen again. You heard what I said about what the airlines posted today, and you can go out and pull out articles, CNBC, Wall Street Journal, Money Morning, whatever website you use. It's very clear that we need government intervention. We need the government to print some money. Okay, they need to print some money. They need to give these businesses money to keep people employed so that these people earn money and then turn around and go out into the economy and spend it. That's basically what we're trying to do when we talk about stimulus. We're not talking about the government giving money to people to start businesses. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about government giving money to businesses that are already operating, right? Who are currently operating at a massive deficit, but give them money to continue to run those deficits, right, until uh, you can have revenue back at pre-COVID levels. And what legislatures are not agreeing with, congressmen, senators, is that how long is this going to be? Right? Is it going to be just 1 year, or we're going to have to come back in 6 months and talk about another stimulus package or another stimulus package? You've got some people in the Republican Party who are saying, hey, let's just fight through it. Why do we have to give stimulus at all? Right? There's been some talk that, the jobs numbers are so far so good and things are somewhat turning around, although slowly. So why bother having to put out another stimulus package? But if we want prices to stay above where they are right now, we need stimulus. All right, because at the current price of what many of these stocks are trading at, without stimulus, the next earnings reports will not justify the current valuations without stimulus. That's just a fact. All right, that's just a fact. 3480 SPX does have to hold tomorrow. If not, then I think we're going to see 3470 get printed, or possibly lower. But 3470 is really the low of the week. I put out an iron condor trade from 3660 to 3425. I took in $600 of credit for the week. Looking back, I probably gave myself too much room on the top side, being that we already ran really hard going into the week. But the fact that, we had such a strong Monday morning, right? A 2% ripper on Monday, I had to respect that we could possibly get another 1 to 2% move this week if the stimulus bill gets passed, right? They've been so wishy-washy on stimulus. I still think it gets done regardless of what everyone is saying before the election, because it's just so much needed right now. But I've given myself about 2.6% to the downside as protection from where we are right now, which is that 34.25 level. So I think I make my $600 for this week, but at the same time, looking back, I probably should have stuck with my every 2-day trade. But I played it safe, and I'm happy because I'd rather leave with something than lose a significant amount of money if I had played too close, or not played at all. Not played at all. All right. So shout out to everybody who's enjoying my Power of Three video series that I put out my uh, on my course. I think a lot of guys watched it and were really, really happy with it. Next week is very imperative for the market to stay high, right? I've mentioned it before that I think all trading after the 15th is all hands on deck. I mean, I think you're going to see all kind of good news come out on the market next week. I think you're going to see all the kind of pump and the news that you're going to be able to handle over the next 2 weeks as we go into the elections, because the Republicans can help him by restricting access to voting, but at the end of the day, whoever's going into the voting booth has to want to vote for President Trump, has to want to keep him there, and he's got his loyal base. But at the end of the day, he was elected by one of the smallest margins in U.S. history. So we've got to understand that this is still a man who, barely won the presidency and really needs a clear and decisive win to be considered a legitimate president for his second term. He needs that, right? He can't barely win, although he'll take that and run with it. It won't be acceptable to a lot of people, and it won't work very well for him as someone who's going to try to get policy achieved. It will only end to gridlock and a lot of bad sentiment among the American people. So, ladies and gentlemen, looking at the pre-market right now, everything's looking good after hours right here in the futures. Not going up very much, not going down very much. As I said, I think we'll be believed that 35.75 to 34.70 level. I think we stay in that round for the rest of the week, but time will tell. Tomorrow is another trading day. Trade well.